Derbyites, we're back for episode 7 of season 5 of your favourite show, Outlander. I'm Rob Lacuria, senior editor here at Gold Derby, joined once again by superfan Paula Sullivan. Lacuria, welcome back.
Hi.
There's a lot to talk about in this episode. I think this episode was the most action-packed, devastating, emotionally draining episode that I have seen in Outlander for quite some time. And after a few episodes where I was a little bit impatient with the action moving forward, this one was a complete and utter assault on the senses.
Yeah, that's one perfect way to sum up this episode. I was apprehensive, then I was blissfully happy, and then I was shattered, and then I was tense, then I was shattered again. This was one roller coaster of an episode.
So I'm just going to go back to the synopsis for the episode, but it doesn't really give away a lot. This is what it says. The Regulator Rebellion reaches a boiling point, forcing Jamie to face his fear and confront the consequence of his divided loyalties. Brianna remembers some critical details pertaining to the battle, forcing Roger to cross behind enemy lines where he finds himself in grave danger. Claire's attempts to treat the wounded are threatened by the volatile Brown brothers. This episode was written by Tony Graffia, which does not surprise me because she always writes the good ones, and directed by Stephen Wolfenden. Now, when I read that before the episode started, because I get these emails from Stars like midweek before the weekend when the episode airs, I thought, that sounds really boring. This is going to be one of those chess piece moving episodes. Well, I was really, really wrong. The Ballad of Roger Mac was really good. I really would recommend this episode to people who might be, not completely sold on this season. Watch it and then come back to me because it was really, really well done.
Yeah, that's one way to put this episode. But the minute I actually chose not to read the synopsis, because even though I read the books, I still like to be surprised, and I've said that over and over and over again in every video. So I didn't even know the title of it until I saw the title cards. And so, yeah, I was just really, I'm like, I don't know if I remember, if you remember, but when that title came up, I'm not going to say what I said because spoilers, and I was like, oh, I know. The minute I saw it, I was like, I have a vague idea what happens in this episode. But talking about the book, I just wanted to show you. So I'm up to this bookmark here that says "I Heart You" that our daughter made. So this is where I'm up to in the book, right? And the episode actually starts back here. So, happy birthday to you. Now, for all the super fans out there, they'll know, if you can see it very clearly, very closely, May 1st. For all those super fans out there, they know May 1st is Jamie's birthday. So that's where the episode starts. For Jamie and Claire anyway. We have a little interlude with Roger and Brianna at the beginning, which is really sweet and heartfelt, and I love it. Anytime we get to hear Richard sing, it's a win in my book. And so, but this is essentially where the episode starts. And we see Jamie and Claire in a tent celebrating his birthday, if you get my meaning.
Okay, so can we just stop there for a second? So the openings, that scene was actually quite raunchy, and I was thinking, oh geez, here we go again. Like, this is Outlander soft porn for the ladies. That's how I like to look at it. That took me back a little, but I was so distracted because I'm like, that is not a 50-year-old man. Okay? He's not 50. We need to ugly him up a bit because he does not look 50.
No, let's not ugly him up. Let's just leave him as he is. Thank you very much.
Just saying. Doesn't look 50.
Can we move on?
Well, yeah, so that was a really raunchy scene, and because I had no idea. Firstly, because that synopsis meant nothing to me. I was like, that's just ridiculous. And then I watched the opening scene and I thought, oh, God, okay, so it's going to be more of this, I don't know, and then we're going to have regulator stuff. It's going to be a really boring episode. Boy, was I wrong. So it was... there's two major plot points that we'll talk about in this episode, and I think I might be sneezing shortly, so just bear with me. But why don't you keep talking and I'll, yeah.
Okay, all right. So we've got Jamie in his camp doing his thing with all of the militia. Sorry, that is just distracting. So we've got so we see Jamie like doing this continual internal struggle that Sam Heughan has nailed for so long. You know, he gets that look and the little furrowed brow and everything that he's got going on. So we see him struggling with that. And I think, like, if we're going to stick to sort of that particular conversation for now, the thing that I found most interesting, again, for all those who have read the book, I am skimming it, but I cannot keep up with the show. Okay, I mean, if I was like not doing anything else, I could probably keep up with the show, but I am finding they do tend to jump around a little bit. And I mentioned to you this in the episode. So after we had the raunchy scene and they're getting ready for battle, we then sort of cut away to Jamie half naked in a river. And then you said something along the lines of, here we go again. And I said, no, that's not what's happening. And I actually found it earlier today. And because I said to you, it reminds me of a passage in the book. And that particular passage, I'll show you, is back down here where this card is, and which is approximately page like 228. For anyone who wants to go back, but from about mid-page 228 to like the top of 230. So it goes on for a while, but basically it talks about how Jamie is doing this ritual. And in the book, not on the show, Claire is equating this ritual like washing himself clean and cutting his hand and doing the cross, saying a prayer in Gaelic. That's his ritual before battle. Just like how a surgeon, scrubs their hands, puts on their scrubs and gets ready for surgery. So that's what they were doing, which I kind of liked. Like as a TV viewer, I liked seeing that particular element come in. And for those who are super fans and have read the book, I do understand that in the book he is completely and absolutely starkers. Unfortunately,
why do you think they did that? Why do you think they changed it?
I don't know. I'm kind of glad they did. It sort of, I don't know, maybe it removed the whole sexual nature out of it, even though that's not the whole point. It ended up being about the ritual. And the whole blessing of like washing himself clean, calling upon whoever to help him through this hard time. And he actually later on says that he was calling on Dougal, the war chief from the Mackenzie clan. So I think maybe that's why they sort of left his pants on. Disappointingly, for those who are in there, if you want to go back, it is a very descriptive passage. I do not think it is appropriate to actually read it and quote it for this video.
I don't need to go down that road.
No.
So I was just thinking as well, it's just to jump around a bit so that we don't run out of time.
Sure.
Before we get onto the two major plot points of the episode, so that people can maybe turn off if they don't want to be too spoiled about things we might be talking about. So Cameron McTavish is back. That was an interesting. Why don't you talk me through that that choice of that particular actor, and also the ancestor, the Mackenzie ancestor that Roger was trying to help?
Yes. So, okay. So, and like we said last episode, there are a lot of peripheral characters that come in. Like you see them briefly, maybe for a part of an episode, maybe two, and then you don't see them again. And that does happen in the book. So basically, Roger is tasked to go and warn Murtagh that the regulators won't win this battle. And that's because Brianna had an epiphany, because don't forget, before she studied engineering at university, she studied history. So she remembered this creek, she remembered something about the battle, so off she goes to warn everybody, and then they send Roger to the regulator camp. Because if anyone's going to believe this fantastical, I know what happens type deal, it's got to come from someone credible. And the only person that Murtagh is going to believe would be either Claire, Brianna, or Roger, because he knows they're from the future. So off Roger goes, doing the right thing, and you can see that's what he was going to do. So while he's there and he warns Murtagh and he's on his way back, he actually sees Murtagh. Now, again, for the super fans, you'll know Murtagh is, I don't know how many greats, but is Roger's great-grandmother of a sort. And her husband just happens to look exactly like Dougal. Very different, great makeup, by the way. It even took me a couple of minutes to go, hang on, that voice is familiar. I'm like, oh, that's right, because they're Mackenzies. So they're from the Mackenzie clan where Jamie grew up. So that's why it's like the whole Blackjack Randall, Frank Randall kind of deal, looks and DNA, you look like your ancestors type thing. I think that was just part of it, So Murtagh and her husband, I forget his name, the character's name, but they are his great grandparents of some sort. Yeah. And so that's what that is. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah. So let's talk about the major plot point of the episode, and that was the death of Murtagh, which was really cool. Cool because no one saw that coming. Like, even if you're a book reader and you've read every line and you've memorized it, you would still not see that coming, because obviously his storyline, it's like he was on borrowed time for me. Like, they brought that character back. Yeah, I thought about that when I was watching. I was like, Murtagh's always been on borrowed time in this show, because they brought him back to spice up the regulator storyline and give Duncan LaCroix like a story to work with, because they obviously really love him as an actor. And, no one saw it coming. And when that moron shot him, I mean, you let out an almighty yelp and put your hands over your face, which is not allowed in this day and age of social distancing. But that's not the story. And doesn't matter, I'm just joking. And I was just like watching the TV thinking to myself, am I seeing this? Like, what is happening? And then Jamie, tries to save him in vain. Because what I thought, no, this is TV, maybe he will get saved. And then when they lie him on the table and Claire's looking at him, you can see Murtagh has lost all colour in his face. He's dead. Claire is like, I'm sorry. And then I was just like, very sad to see the character go. But then I just wanted to watch Sam Heughan do his thing. And he did it. He did it. Once again, he never disappoints, this guy. Yes, he's got a really pretty face, but it doesn't matter, because he's a really, really good actor, and he really, really delivers all the time. And I wish people would take more, give him more attention for his performances. So anyway, that's what I was going to say about it. Now you can give us your point of view, because you did not see this coming, so obviously this is quite sad.
Yeah, no, not in a million years did I see this coming, and I never really thought about the borrowed time idea. I do like that. And you're right, he was on borrowed time. But yeah, no, I was speechless. I was like, it's one of those plot points where you really don't want it to happen, but you're kind of glad that it did, if that makes sense. Yeah, so it's taken me like a day to sort of get over this loss of such a beloved character. But yeah, like, you know, the poor kid who did shoot, you know, Murtagh was like just doing his job. I get that, you know, and there's Jamie in a red coat, and that just opens a whole nother kettle of psychological fish. You know, and then he then has to deal with the death of Murtagh, and then he brings him to Claire, and basically she can't fix him because he's dead already, and and then even the way Katrina Balfe does that scene, just with Duncan McQuart on the table, and she just quietly talks to him, and she's crying, and then she just reverently, slowly pulls that sheet up over him. I don't know, man. I caught the feels, and you know, just from go to woe, I'm like I said, and then she gets the pin that Murtagh had the same one made for Jocasta, and then she puts it in her pocket, and then Jamie goes out and he kneels by the fire because he's a big strong man and he can't show his emotions, and he starts crying because his godfather is dead, and he says, "No, I don't release you from your vow." Oh my God, what a scene, people! What a scene!
Yeah, I don't think I really have much more to add to that, but I do hope that we get to see Jocasta's reaction at some point. I don't know or not.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Think about it good.
I can't deal. I just can't.
You're going to have to deal, because now we're going to talk about something even worse. Now, we might be veering into some spoiler territory, so if you haven't read the book, and you would like to not be spoiled about what happens after they cut to black when we see Roger hanging there, then have a nice day. We'll see you next week. If you know about it or you want to hear about it anyway, because we might just go there, because frankly, I was not prepared to let that just sit. I needed to know. Okay? So let's talk about something even worse. First of all, the fact that Murtagh was shot and died should have been enough. But no.
You would think that the audience has been through enough for one episode, but no, they then got to pour salt in the wound.
No. It's not enough that we have to have a beloved character die. Then we've got to see Roger, poor, defenseless, sweet, loving, sensitive Roger, beaten, and then by his ancestors. Or some of them, you know, because of his ancestors for trying to help them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we realise he's hanging on the tree, and I knew that was going to happen because you had already told me. But, you know, they're looking, have you seen Captain Mackenzie? Have you seen Captain Mackenzie? Have you seen Roger Mac? No. And then suddenly Jamie looks up into the distance and sees the man hanging from the tree, and he just knows. He walks up. Brianna's almost having a stroke. They realise he's there. Roger's got his hand on his neck with the Hessian bag over. Oh, yeah, so you know that that's probably what's going to save him. And then we cut to black. And
I literally screamed. Like, Come on, people. Can't we at least get the payoff that one of the characters lives? No, you're going to make us wait a whole week.
No, exactly. So anyway, you know that he lives.
I do.
You know that him doing this is because that's what saves him. But what really gets me, and you have to remember, I mean, if anyone who doesn't know me, that I'm just a black shell. It takes a lot to move me. I find it quite moving that this episode was called The Ballad of Roger Mac. Ballads are sometimes, they sometimes imply remorse or grief or loss. The Ballad of Roger Mac, to me, if it's true that they're going to follow the books and he will never be able to sing again because of whatever's happened to him after being hanged, then that is quite poetic and quite devastating for a character like him. And so I'm really, really looking forward to how that plays out next week.
Well, so going back to your point, so you're right, ballad does denote something sad, but for me, but I knew what was coming, right? Let's just say they go along with the book. We don't know that for sure. Let's just say they do go along with the book, but a ballad could also be something written in the memory of that person. We don't know what they're going to do.
No.
We can only hope that Roger's alive, because that's what happens in the book. They could do a 180 and kill Roger Mac off like that. We don't know. We really don't know. They made Murtagh live. They might kill Roger Mac. Please don't kill Roger Mac.
Well,
I'm not going to get me anywhere. It's already written and filmed. But
or on the other hand, kill him off, because that would be really interesting.
Please, no, I cannot deal. But going back to, okay, let's assume he's alive. Let's just toy with that idea. The whole opening scene where he's singing in his beautiful voice, strumming a guitar, that was telegraphing the end of the episode. The opening scene was Roger and Brianna. And the end scene was essentially, even though there was all these other people there, it was essentially Roger and Brianna at the end. And I'm hoping that with him singing in the beginning is simply telegraphing that he won't be able to sing.
Yeah.
Please.
I think that's what it is.
I hope so. I hope so, because going on with all the books, and I've said this before, I said this way back in the beginning when we morphed into Brianna being a grown-up, that the love story isn't just about Jamie and Claire anymore. It's about their family. And so it ends up being the love story between Roger and Brianna and their little family, so their children. And then it's also about Fergus and Marsley and about how they, as a whole group family, just, the love in a family. And so that's why I'm really hoping they don't kill him off. I don't think I could deal. You don't understand.
I think I get it. But we're going to wrap up, but I will mention that we are at the halfway mark now. There are 13 episodes, and we're at episode 7. And I'm looking at the episode guide. Next episode for next week is Famous Last Words. And it goes on and on until we get to the finale, which looks like is called Yule Log. So,
well, I know what that one's about. Yule Log is about Christmas.
Yeah, so we've got lots to look forward to there. If we're in May being the birth of a birthday for Jamie, looks like we're going to get to Christmas, so that's pretty cool. God, I have no idea what to look forward to there. But anyway, we've got a lot more to talk about, but I think we'll wrap it up there. Everybody make sure there's plenty. There's a whole wad of paper to go. Everybody stick with Gold Derby. We've got plenty more Outlander coverage to come. We really look forward to your feedback, questions, comments, queries and concerns that you have on YouTube, on Twitter, and also in the article itself on Gold Derby. We'll be back next week for more. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay home.